Hi, this is Ed Gonfandini again. I'm continuing the series on how to assemble a drawer box for custom cabinets. And the method that I use is the pocket screws. And I've so far covered how to do the drawer bottoms, the sides, edge banding, pocket screws. And now we're going to do the assembly. And the way I have it set up right now is I'm going to set the camera up so it's focused on that instead of me, and so you can see what's going on. So we have a table here set up, and I have a fixture that I made, which allows assembly nice and tight, squares everything up. The drawer sides and front and backs are all done, labeled, so I know what I'm doing. And then what I've done is I've broken the edges, which is already done, broken the edges of the plywood on the bottoms and around the perimeter of the, so it fits together. And also in future handling, when you're doing your installation, you don't pick up little slivers in the field. So we start out with a side. We'll go in the fixture like so. And then we take a front and back, which has the pre-drill in it, set that in there. And then what we have is a little cam lock. Okay, you can see the way that lever presses that. It pushes the corner block in there, so that tightens those two right together. Then what you can do, you put the screws in, and you have everything all set up so you can just go with it. And we got a dedicated driver with a long square drive bit. And you can just kind of gently hold that one hand while you do the other. There you go. And you loosen it. Sometimes I got this set up to do certain plywoods, but what happens is sometimes you end up with little variations. Now this one right here, that wanted a pull. So all we do there, what you do basically is if you have a problem with it, you pull it the way you want it. But then what you do is you set it in reverse and get that screw to make its own little spot. And there you go. You just pull it till it's where you want it. Sometimes you'll get a little variation. Okay? Not a big deal. Then what you can do at that point is you're going to get another side, put that over here, so, and then, okay, all right, we're going to take this and reverse it, and then we can put a little shim under here to hold this up. There we go. Support that. There we go, just like this. This time we've got, there we go, bottom up. Okay, always keep an eye on what you're doing. Two sides, a front and back. Draw it tight. That bottom one in there, nice and neat. Go reverse. There you go, beautiful. Now you can take this baby out of here. There we go. Now, take your bottom. And generally what I do is I generally do the grain across the cabinet like that. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's just my preference to do it. Sometimes when you're making up things out of plywood, you know, with whatever material you got, sometimes you got to reverse it. That'll just drop right in there. Now, a lot of times what will happen is, a lot of guys, what they do is they have it set up so that this gets fastened to the bottom of the back piece. I like to make it universal, because what happens is when you're making these out of plywood, oftentimes you'll find that you'll get a knot or you'll get something either undesirable. And as you're doing all your processes, you're always trying to minimize it. Try to find a way to conceal or get rid of whatever the problem is as you're going. And also I find that this is a lot stronger. So now what I can do at this point is finish assembling this on the bench. There you go. And like I say, doing that reverse first makes a difference, because what it does is it directs that to start where you want it, and it's less likely to drift. And whoops, there we go. Okay, and preload these babies. And I did have an issue with this plywood. Some of this stuff, it did have some warps in it, and I'm thinking that possibly what the issue was, because it was finished on one side, maybe that allowed the moisture to get absorbed through the backside and cause a little unusual warpage. So it's been a little unusual. A lot of times the stuff's dead flat. There we go. Beautiful. So now, stuff out of the way. You can see what we got here is a drawer that is assembled. It's marked as to what cabinet it's going to go to. It's pretty tight. Now, sometimes, I mean, I usually like to have it fairly snug, but you want to be able to assemble it, you know, without a big hassle. So, what you can also do too, if you ever get one that you don't like, it's maybe a hair loose, what you can do is you can always put a little adhesive around the perimeter, and you know, either liquid nails or even wood glue, and that'll set up. But generally I don't like to use the glues, because my whole principle with building these things is I want to be able to modify these. If I ever found that this didn't fit, or there was a change in plans, I can take this thing apart and I can either cut it down and make it smaller, or I can set the parts aside and just make, because the sides are standard, I can just make new fronts and backs to make it bigger and a new bottom. Put the stuff in the rack and use it again, because there's a lot of common sizes. Now this cabinet is 25 inches, which is an oddball, but that's the way I do things. I mean, that's the whole idea of doing semi-custom cabinets, is you buy cabinets from a catalog, all you get is their standard sizes. And if you've got an unusual layout where you want to maximize your space, that's one of the reasons I started doing this, was I wanted the availability of certain sizes and features that I couldn't get in the amount of time I wanted them for what I wanted to pay for them. And now this way, we have a beautiful drawer. It's strong, nice, and there you go. And then the rest of that is mounting the slides and going in the cabinet, which is this whole separate issue. So for another day. But anyway, so thank you watching this. If you picked up a little something from it, if you like my concept, go ahead and press the like button and the subscription. I'm trying to do this in segments so that, you know, each phase, just like I build them, I do a batch of this, I do a batch of that, I do an assembly time, and that way it's all grouped together, and hopefully when I put it all in there, it's going to make sense so that it all comes together. And then you can look at it and you can say, I like the way he does that, but I got my way of doing this. And you can either do it all your way or do it all my way, or make a combination. But I found this to be very effective and very good. And just for the heck of it, it is dead square, 31 7/16, which means it came out just right. Thank you. Bye-bye.